Welcome to Pegasus Auto Racing Supplies. I'm Zach Moore on Techline, and today we're going to be walking you through the different hoses that we sell here at Pegasus. We do have several different hoses. We actually have 11 hoses out here today to show you, and we're going to walk you through the different intricacies and where you might use a hose versus a different hose, as well as different use cases and whatnot of certain hoses that we have, as well as all the fittings that you may need to use with them. So to start off, we're going to go with our streetlight hose. This just happens to be the first one in front of me, but we're going to start here. So it is important to note, if you notice, this is a very large radius bend out of any of the other hoses that we have out here, besides maybe this 3270-16. The reasoning is this is a lined hose. It is a PTFE style hose. It is not a traditional PTFE liner hose that you would use like an olive with or have special fittings for. This does use traditional and reusable hose ends. But this is rated for ethanol. All of the other hoses that we sell besides our 811 and 912 hose is not rated for ethanol. So this, for use with a standard AN hose, is rated for ethanol, E85, all that good fuel that really helps get a lot of power. That's what this is here for. It does kink fairly easily, so it is worth noting that you do need to make sure that when you're routing this hose, you don't have any really sharp bends, anything like that. If you need to use a bulkhead fitting to get this through a panel or something without making it do any really sharp bends, that's what you got to do. But it is a great hose for its use case. Next, we'll go through our 3260 hose. This would be traditional PTFE liner hose. This is the hose that we use from sizes -2 all the way through -8. This hose would typically be used on brake lines, motorcycles, Formula cars. A lot of those use -2 fittings because they're really small. They can go through frame rails or lower control arms. Otherwise, -3, -4 are typically brake lines and clutch lines. -6 and -8 are going to be either fuel lines or power steering lines. All of our fittings for this hose are steel fittings. We do not have an aluminum variant for this hose. This is the style that would use a sleeve or an olive, as some may call it. Next would be our 3492 hose, otherwise known as Startlight. This is a traditional hose that's an aramid braiding. It's really light, it's really flexible, it doesn't bend, it doesn't kink, as you can see. This does use traditional AN reusable hose ends on both ends. You can't really clamp down. It doesn't work on a barb or anything like that. But traditional AN hose ends, this is really common for oil, fuel, trans fluid, diff fluid, gear lube, whatever the case may be, running different coolers, running different pumps. This is a great hose for that. The aramid makes it really light. It's still some form of fire retardant material. It is a great hose to be using for those materials. Next would be our 3270 hose. This is actually very, very similar to our 3492, but the 3270, as you can see, is braided stainless versus the braided aramid. Things to make sure of is the braided stainless does have a lot of abrasion resistance properties to it. So if you're in an area where it's rubbing up against stuff, it's not going to rub through this. This will rub through everything else, wire insulation and stuff like that, but stuff will not rub through this, which is really nice. It's also good for running through cockpits and stuff like that. So this would be a great hose for doing that. Otherwise, we also have our 810 and 911 hoses. 811 and 910 hoses. I always get those two mixed up. They're actually very similar. They're pretty much the same hose. They're both Goodrich hoses. They both use the same fittings. One is just an aramid. The other is a braided stainless. Same kind of thing, braided stainless versus the aramid as with the 3492 and the 3270. Same kind of properties. This just uses a different style fitting. They're also very flexible. This is a -12 and this is a -10. They're really flexible, really light. This is a PTFE lined hose. So what that means is you can use ethanol, you can use alcohol, you can use a lot of different aggressive, corrosive fuels in this and this doesn't really care. It is rated for it. However, unlike most PTFE lined hoses, these are only rated for a few hundred PSI. They aren't rated for 3,000 or 4,000 PSI as a working line pressure. It's a much lower line pressure versus a typical traditional PTFE lined hose. Next, we have our textile hose. This is blue, this is black. They're the same hose otherwise. It's a textile reinforced hose. Typically people use it on like hydraulic fittings and stuff like that. This is not to be submersed in fuel completely. I know it looks like it could be, but it's not. The inside is great for zero ethanol type fuels, stuff like that, and predominantly oil, but it is not designed to be submersed in a cell or anything like that. But the push lock style fittings make it really easy to work with. You can use it with traditional barbs or push locks, put a clamp on the outside, you're good to go. It's really easy to use. It's a great opportunity for a hose that is going to something that has AN fittings, but you don't necessarily want to put in the time or money or effort into assembling an AN hose like all these. Next up is our Gates Barricade hose. We offer this in a few different sizes. This is a great hose because it is also rated for ethanol. It's good for E85, but the nice thing about this is it looks and acts like a traditional fuel hose would. You can use it on a barb. You can use it directly on any other normal kind of quick fitting, and you're good to go with that. Finally, we have a submersible fuel hose. This is really nice for in tanks, in fuel cells. This is really the only fuel hose that we sell that is designed to be fully submersed in a tank or anything that would be using fuel or living in a bath of fuel. So just like the textile hose, it is designed to be used with hose barbs and a clamp, not an AN style fitting. This is the only hose that we sell that is not fuel hose. This is actually for brake lines. This is our 34, 35, 75 hose. This is to go from a brake master or a clutch master to the reservoir. That's really the only use case for this. It will withstand brake fluid. It won't break down or anything from that. It is designed to go from a remote master cylinder to a remote reservoir. That's the use for this. It's a great hose. We do have it in 3 different sizes. On top of all of that, if this information wasn't enough and you need more, you can absolutely reach out to us, email us, call us, reach out to us on Facebook or any other form of social media. Anything that we're on, we're happy to get back to you. We have as much information as we can, obviously. So we're happy to help, happy to help you work through whatever you need to. So go ahead and reach out to us anywhere and we'll be happy to help.